All right, there we go.
Welcome back to Live with the Estradas. I've got the whole team here today, so it's kind of nice. I was running solo all last week, guys.
Busy week.
Yeah, we were busy. It was all hands on deck last week, so
it was. I get that. So does that mean that I just don't do anything? I just sit in the office and do lives, or
no? What that means is
okay.
Maybe you had better time management than Nathaniel and I. Maybe that was it.
That's not it, guys. So, well, we're going to jump right in. It's Market Monday, and I want to discuss: is now a good time to buy or sell in today's market? So let's actually talk about that, because depending on who you ask, the market's crashing, it's booming, it's frozen. So what's the truth? So
it depends.
Well, comment buyer or seller down below, if just so we know who we're talking to. Are we talking to more buyers, or are we talking to more sellers, so that we can kind of tailor our message today, so that we hit on the topics that you guys want to hear about. So there's no universal good or bad market. There's only a market that requires the right strategy. And right now we're in kind of a higher inventory market. We have longer days on market. We have more negotiations. We have kind of a slower pace. This is not chaos. It's normalization. And what the market's doing right now is just normalizing. We're coming off, the frenzy of the COVID market. And then now we came to a screeching halt with the higher interest rates. And now it's been a couple of years of this. So we're starting to normalize. And I feel like it's sort of a balanced market, even though technically, and this just goes back for the last 3 decades, a more balanced market is about 6 months as far as days on market, or just days on market. So if it takes 6 months to sell a property, it's a balanced market. It's not a buyer's market, and it's not a seller's market, believe it or not. I think that actually definition needs to change, because I think with all the technology and, buyers having all the data, I think, it's more like 3 months should be more like a balanced market. And that's right where we are. About 90 days on market is the average to sell a property, and it feels more balanced. So what do you guys think about that?
I agree. I think there's a lot of old norms that should not be the norm anymore. And I think, like we talked about before, that's our biggest challenge right now, I think, as real estate agents, especially veteran real estate agents who for so long have preached these norms, and it is no longer that way. And so as we re-educate ourselves, then becomes the task of re-educating the consumer. And that's challenging because data doesn't lie and statistics don't lie. But with technology the way it is, the data doesn't keep up anymore. And that's a hard thing to have conversations with people, to say, look, this is how it is, but everything they read and see contradicts that. And so for me, I think that's so important why we do these lives, because with this day and age, you need real time, real experience, day to day updates.
Yeah. I mean, we say it's a a buyer's market, but then, buddy, you did this open house on Saturday, and tell them what kind of activity you got.
I did not sit down for the whole open house from 11 to 5. It was crazy activity. I believe I counted 28 groups came through. That was a mix of current buyers who are actively looking and like, hey, send me what you got. I was doing, pulling up properties for families that were coming through, and just it was crazy. And then potential sellers that are going to be, preparing for the spring and summertime are coming in and being like, what is this activity? Like, what is going on in the market? Like, they're doing research right now. And then the neighbors were also like, wow, I didn't know is this picking up this much. So crazy amount of activity on this one. They already got multiple offers this weekend. And it was just a second day on the market. So
so that frenzy could be a result of this. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
So this is the interest rates of the 10-year treasury over the last month. And as you can see, it's been slowly going down. And we kind of hit kind of a new bottom for the month right down here. And that's where we are today. So
So for the people who don't know what the 10-year treasury like associates with, can you explain a little bit?
Yeah, so the 10-year treasury is basically, that's what the 30-year mortgage rates follow. So as the 10-year treasury drops, the mortgage interest rates drop. And, it's a little more complicated than that, but just for, the normal consumer out there, if you want to track interest rates, this is a good one to track. It's the 10-year treasury. And like I said, as this drops, mortgage rates drop. So as you can see, we're at a 1 month low today. And actually, I think it's been the lowest since probably maybe December. There was like sort of a 1 hour window in December where you could, lock in a really good interest rate.
Well, we had a couple people do that because they did refinance.
Yeah, we had but for the last 90 days, this has been the lowest it's been. So, and it's right now, there's a peak time because, spring's right around the corner. I know it feels like springtime out there already, but for the real estate market, spring is definitely going strong. And that's why I think you had some pent up demand this weekend. They were waiting for interest rates to drop. They dropped, and then they're out looking at houses and more active in the marketplace. So I think that could be some of the contribution that you saw out there this weekend. So
No, I agree. I showed new construction this weekend, and for a while when I would show new construction, we'd be the only ones there, or even sometimes the sales offices were like closed early or whatever because there just weren't a ton of people. But there were so many people in the sales office. Salespeople were showing multiple houses. And so my clients felt the need to move quickly, and we did. But yeah, they locked in a 399 fixed this weekend.
And tell them what kind of deal they got.
I'm sorry?
Tell them what kind of deal they got on that new construction.
Oh, yeah. So this specific model, they're not going to be building a lot until probably the end of the year. And previously, this particular model had sold from anywhere from 575 to 595. My clients got theirs under contract for just under 565 at a 399 interest rate with blinds. So we were able, because that's something people don't think about. You want to buy a new house, but you have to buy blinds and a washer dryer and fence and landscaping and all those things. So you need to try to negotiate those things in up front so you don't have that added expense. But their house will be done middle of May, which is perfect timing for them. So again, if you have conversations up front with your agent and you have a solid strategic plan, then you're winning.
Well, and if you don't want to use blinds, there's always the sheets and the blankets.
We're not doing that in this gorgeous home with tons of windows. We're not doing that.
All right. So I want to share something else with you. So this is just the MLS stats, just so you can kind of see. So this is over the last week. Last 7 days. There are only 28 new listings on the market, which is a little unusual.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
7 days?
It has to be. Yeah.
Refresh.
Okay. Just kidding. It's
I was like, wait a minute. Yeah. That's not right.
Just kidding. That was 1 day total. So 1,300 new listings. Look at the price decreases though. Equal amount of decreases in new listings. So a lot of people tend to drop their prices just before the weekend hits. So we saw a lot of price reductions, and then we saw equal number pending. So the market is sort of starting to pick up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's right in line with what we're experiencing, right? So we got the new construction under contract. We've got a few more listings coming up here. People are getting ready, putting their houses on the market. So, if you're a seller and you need some tips on how to prepare your home for sale for this spring, just go ahead and comment seller down below, and we'd be happy to help you, prepare your home for sale. What kind of repairs are you looking at? Do we look at staging? All those things that are important to trying to get you top dollar. What kind of strategy are you going to go with? Are you going to go the traditional model? Or are you going to go with the OfferX model, where it's more of an auction style environment? We put the house on the market for 14 days, get multiple offers, and you pick one. So lots of things to talk about. What do you think what's going through the buyer's head right now that they're seeing the market sort of pick up, and you might be going against multiple offers now? Because here's what happens when you wait. When you wait for interest rates to drop, you're not the only buyer that's waiting for interest rates to drop. Everybody else is waiting for it to drop. So when it drops, all the buyers come to the inventory of listings, and then there's probably a good chance that you're going to be competing. So is it really worth it to wait for rates to drop? Or is it better to get in before the rates drop, negotiate a good price, maybe some seller concessions, and then you can buy down the interest, or the seller could pay to buy down your interest rate, and you're in a much better position than you were to just wait for interest rates to drop, and then this frenzy happens. And we tell people this every day, but they don't believe us. They think we're just being salespeople. We're being salesy. But this is reality, folks. And it's actually happening right now. So I don't know how to speak more truth than what we're doing right now. But if you wait, there's a risk.
On both sides. On both sides. The waiting game rarely plays out well. And especially speaking on the buy side, I know that the longer any of my buyers have waited, the more complicated it was to get them into a situation. The price went up, or especially in new construction, the rate changed. They ended up paying 2 or 3 more months of rent. And so that took away from their down payment. All those things play into your strategy. And so waiting, as much as you think it might save you down the road, it ends up not. And I think a lot of buyers also make the mistake of thinking, well, if I wait and save a little bit more, then it'll save me on my monthly payment. And I'm like, okay, but unless you're going to save 20% in the next 3 months, it's not going to impact your payment as much as you might think. And a lot of buyers get disappointed. They're like, oh, dang, we just saved for 6 months and it's only going to save us $100 a month. Well, yeah. So that's why this strategy is important. It may not be in your mind what you think it is. So have that conversation too when you're making those decisions and thinking about waiting. Really talk it through and take into account all the different aspects, because it's not just I want to wait to save more money or I want to wait to get a better interest rate. Because honestly, a 6% interest rate and it drops to 5.875. Probably not going to save you as much money as you thought it was. I think some buyers really think it's going to save them $400 or $500 a month. And when you look at the actual number, it doesn't. And I always tell my people, down the road, if you pay $10,000 more for this house, it's going to take you longer to make up that $10,000 than it would have at the interest rate we talked about 2 months ago.
Well, and I think it's just so important to just get in the game. Mm-hmm. If you're thinking about buying and you're going to be buying over the next 6, 12, 18 months, let's just start getting in the game, because what had happened this weekend is we had some folks under contract on another new construction, and they went through the process to sign the contract on this one particular model. But then during this weekend, the exact same model came on the market and was already finished for $50,000 less than what they were paying for this one that was still under construction. So just because they got in the game, they were able to switch that contract to the one that's already built, that's $50,000 less, and save 50 grand on the same model just by getting in the game, because they were going to wait until April until their lease ended. And we said, well, let's just see what's out there. Let's get prepared. Let's get pre-approved. Let's start looking. And they end up going under contract and then switching that contract to a better deal. And if they hadn't gotten prepared, then they would have missed out on 50 grand worth of equity. So just another example of, what's the cost of waiting? It could be tens of thousands of dollars, guys. So these are real case scenarios. We're not making this up. I couldn't tell a story better than that. So
the number of people on a yearly basis that we have helped buy and sell real estate, 90% of them didn't expect to do it when they did it. And, you just have that conversation because we do take that consultative approach and we do play the long game. We don't go into something saying, okay, you guys, we're going to go look tomorrow. And then you're going to be, these are months and months of conversations prior to, but once you make that decision, because you've done all that legwork with us and we do have you prepared, you're not afraid and you're ready when the right opportunity presents itself. And I think that when you get into that mind space, you're able to see things a little more clearly and make better decisions for yourself that always end up working out just the way you hoped or even better.
Yeah. So we're going to close with that. Buddy, is there anything you want to add?
No, I think, like you said, if you're thinking about buying anytime in the near future, it's definitely worth getting prepared and seeing where you are. Talking to a real estate professional and a broker to just, be ready to pull the trigger. Because, if you're looking at open houses right now, it's funny because during these open houses, I held one about 3 weeks ago over in Broomfield, North Broomfield, and I met these buyers. They came into the open house, and then this weekend, they actually saw me again, and they actually missed out on an offer because they weren't prepared. They had to get pre-approved and stuff. So they're still in the market, and they could have been under contract already if they were prepared before. So I'm actually working to get them on that same open house that expired. I made a video about that, but it's definitely worth getting prepared and just knowing what your options are and just getting that clarity. I think that's the one thing that most buyers are afraid of, is they don't know how the process works. They don't know what they qualify for. They don't know really much about the buying process. So I think just having that clarity and being like, okay, I actually know the plan. Maybe it is, breaking my lease a little bit earlier just to save that money, or, unlocking in the rate right now. It really depends on the situation, but just having that clarity, I think, helps a lot of our clients when they are ready to pull that trigger.
Yeah.
I think people feel pressure. I know when we talk to people or we get referrals, which I just want to say we continue to get those on a daily basis from all of you out there. And I cannot tell you how much we appreciate you. Like, I just wish I could find the words because we get referrals every single week from some of you out there, and we truly appreciate you. But when we do get that referral, it's this anticipation of like, oh, I don't know if I want to take the next step, because they feel like the minute they say, yes, I want to do a loan application, that they have to sign on the dotted line on a new house. And it is not like that at all. It's merely the first step, but it is so important, because that one step right there is going to determine whether you truly do want to move forward or not. Because you can't make a decision until you do that piece, because people don't know how the numbers wash out. And that could be, we have people say, oh, that's not as much as I thought. And we have people say like, oh, that's nowhere near, I can't do that. And so those are two different plans. But I truly feel like if you have buying a house on your radar at all, you need to at least fill out a loan application and look at the financing piece of it before you make a firm decision either way.
Yeah. And if you are in a lease, you need to check out our lease buyout program. So comment lease buyout in the comments if you want more information on how we can help you get out of your lease early, or at least help with some of the costs on that. So if you're interested in that, hit us up. We'd love to talk to you more. I don't know anybody else that's doing that program. So hit us up on that. And then in closing, really what would need to happen in order for you guys to feel ready? If you're a seller, do you need values to go up? If you're a buyer, do you need, prices to come down? What is it? Let's have a conversation. So if you want, we're here to help. Comment conversation. We're happy to, talk you through this, present all the options, and then you guys pick the best one for you. But I think there's a lot more tools out there, even from 6 months ago, that we've put together for all of our buyers and sellers that we can get you, hopefully top dollar in this somewhat challenging market. We, as a buyer, we can help you negotiate the best price and terms. And again, if you're you feel like you're handcuffed and in a lease for a while, there are options for you, and we're just here to help. So anything you guys want to add in closing?
I think we covered it all.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. See ya.
All right. Bye.
Bye.